Dennis Radojcich is from Angstrom's Holding. In Michigan's shrinking automobile manufacturing sector, Angstrom's Holding is growing. A leading manufacturer of tubular parts for the automotive industry, Angstrom now owns and is renovating the former Ford Motor Visteon plant in Ypsilanti. Angstrom is a leading manufacturer of component and assemblies, including tubular products, hot and cold forgings, starter and solenoids, steering and suspension, powertrain and brake system products for virtually all automotive companies. Angstrom has plants in Taylor, Michigan, Dayton, Ohio, Mentor, Ohio, and Albemarle.
Albemarle.
Close enough. Not really, but thank you.
About an hour east of Charlotte.
A town an hour east of Charlotte in North Carolina. In addition to the former Ford site in Ypsilanti. Dennis Radojcich is a native of Detroit who holds a bachelor's degree from Western Michigan University and an MBA from the University of Notre Dame. He's had responsibility for numerous automotive manufacturing plants in both North America and Europe, including a 3-year assignment at the very plant we're talking about in Ypsilanti. He's worked as a plant manager for General Motors, or had various assignments with General Motors, Toyota, Ford, and Visteon. He's currently serving as a senior advisor for strategic business development for Nagesh Pulakarthi.
Nagesh Pulakarthi.
See why I'm the MC? Who is the CEO of Angstrom. So Dennis Radojcich, senior advisor to Angstrom Holding, tell us more about Angstrom and what's going on at the former Ford Visteon plant located right off of I-94 in Ypsilanti. It appears that some parts of the plant have been torn down and other areas are being added. How many people work at the plant currently? How many will work there when you're at maximum operation capability? What are you making there? And what do you think? This is just in 5 minutes you have to answer, and I'm not finished with the questions yet. What do you think the future portends for the automobile industry in Michigan? And I'm really sorry about Michigan snatching victory from the Fighting Irish football team, but I also really want to thank you for beating Michigan State. So, cheer, cheer for old Notre Dame.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me from here? Okay, I'll move over.
Yeah, they should be able to crank it up as high as you need. So you talk, and I'm just going to go like this.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Well, good morning. First of all, congratulations on a great victory to both Michigan and Ann Arbor community. And last week was kind of fun as well. I'm going to try to get to the chase. But to talk about Angstrom, just so that you have a little bit of a background, is difficult without talking about Nagesh. Nagesh is an Indian native, born in Asia. Came to the United States after he grew up there and was educated there, and did an MBA actually in the local community at Eastern Michigan University. He then went to work for Ford Motor Company and pretty much spent the decade of the 90s there in product engineering, and then left and started Angstrom in 1999. We had, or he had, one location in Taylor, Michigan, and it remained that way till about 1.5 years ago, at which point, and he grew the business locally, at which point he acquired the plant, a forging plant in Albemarle, North Carolina.
It's about an hour west of Charlotte, I think.
An hour east of Charlotte.
East.
Yeah. And then in the last, we've been busy the last year. We acquired 2 plants in Ohio, one in Mentor, Ohio, about a half-hour northeast of Cleveland. It's a precision machine shop. And one in just north of Dayton, Ohio, in Tip City, which is a small stamping operation. In addition, about a year and a half ago, we acquired the Ypsi facility. And I tell you that because when we talk about growing, we have attempted to grow in a strategic way. The automotive market, and particularly in the manufacturing sector, is about building modules these days. And to have the kinds of capabilities we now have under one roof is very difficult to find. In fact, you probably won't find it anywhere. So we have all these little component operations going on with the ultimate dream of landing some major modules that we would put in the Ypsilanti plant. Let's talk a little bit about the Ypsilanti plant. Again, purchased about 18 months ago from Ford Motor Company. What you have seen heretofore on that site has all been part of the purchase agreement with Ford. There were three major aspects that are, phase one is done, and that was the removal of the old building, as we call it in our very simple nomenclature. The old building, the one that resided on the west side of the site toward Ann Arbor, was the original building that Henry Ford purchased in 1932. It was, at that time, manufacturing starter motors for the automotive industry. It had about 175,000 square feet. It was very, very old. It had been, it goes back prior to the turn of the 20th century. So we, in order to get to phase two, which was an environmental remediation for some of the sins of the past, the most efficient thing was to take down that building. We had no use for it going forward because the building that you see, if you pass by that area anymore, is a building that's almost 1 million square feet that was built back around 1970, between the late 60s and early 70s. So we continue to, with the environmental remediation, as well as doing a complete new storm sewer system, rerouting of the complete storm sewer system. We don't have anybody on that site currently. We are in the hunt with all of the major OEMs on some very, very exciting business. But I'm not in a position, I wish I was, after that splendid introduction, to tell you that, you know, we're going to start production here occupying X amount of people. We don't know when that will happen. But right now we're readying the site, getting ready for the future. We think we've got all of the component pieces, and I'm not talking about automotive parts, I'm talking about the world as we see it from a strategic vantage point. We think we've got those, we've built a good foundation, and we're ready to go for the future. Can I take a question?
Sure. Why not?
I know that was a quick nutshell, but please.
Did you tear down the original Ford building that was in there?
Question was, did you tear down the original 1880s Ford building?
We did. We did. That was, you know, when you go by there at 60 or 70 miles an hour, it's difficult to decipher because they kind of blended architecturally. Whoever was responsible did a very nice job. But it was the one that was westernmost. It's leveled now, looks like a parking lot or a concrete slab. It's actually some crushed gravel.
One more question.
Right adjacent to the Huron River where it breaks, begins to enter Ford Lake.
And time is up.
Thank you all very much. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you, Dennis.